Hi all, good morning. Let me know if you're able to see my screen. We'll start with the discussion.
Good morning. We can
Yeah,
see the screen.
yeah, okay. So I'll share my SAP desktop. SAP. Okay. Okay, so today what we will see is we will see what are the different outputs available. Okay, in my SAP. So we will discuss all. So first one, I'll just list out what all are there. So once you execute a report example, so there are multiple ways you can show the output. Okay. So first one is ALV, which we already discussed, ABAP list viewer. Okay. Then comes my okay. Now ABAP list viewer on the foreground mode. See, because you can run the program in two different modes, right? A foreground mode and a background mode. Okay. So if you run the list viewer in foreground mode, you can directly see the output. Okay. If you run it in the background mode, there is something called spool which will be generated. Spool. Okay. There is separate transaction for spool. So it's like any output you generate like PDF form, smart form, script or ALV in the background mode, okay, it will be creating a spool. Then the transaction code for spool is SP01. I'll just write it down, no issues. SP01 and SP02 also you can use. This is for like just different selections it will be displaying, that's it. See, SP02 directly displays my list of spools. So if you want to just select and come back, you can come to SP01. So here it will, if you know the request number or you want to see on whose name it is created or date, this filter criteria would be there. And output request is if you want to push some messages out, you can use that. So now basically, if I come back to my T codes, 28 for spool SP01, spool selection I can say. Okay, then 29 would be SP02. Direct spool list. Okay, see these are the two transactions. Let's see, we don't have anything. Nothing is that. So let me try if I can get some spool. So we see 16N. So there are entries. See if I execute online. So now what will happen is it's a list output will be coming up. Okay. So this is the list of ALV. This is the foreground mode. Let me try running in the background mode. So this is a default printer LP01. Otherwise, you can set up the printer based on your requirement. The basic thing is LP01, a default one. So this is a default print device. So if you want to change the printer, two ways you can change it. Every time when you come here, you can do. Last time I showed you, right, the user settings SU01. There you will have your default printer. There also you can change it. So I'll just continue. Job name I'll just give Z Mara select because this is not a standard job. So no name. If you are running from program, that program name will be directly picked by as a job name. I'll just check. No issues. Confirm. Okay. So job for user is scheduled. So let us go to transaction SM37. We have already discussed this. Okay. SM37. So execute. No matches. So schedule. The skill scheduled. It is not running. So let me see. So in job status, na, it will be it should be either finished to see the spool output. Let me see if I have any. I can show. It's still scheduled. I think I haven't saved it. Let me try running it again. I missed this checkbox. Okay, I missed the checkbox of start immediately. I think that's the reason it didn't. Yeah, now it is finished. See, now we can see the spool here. So if you are seeing from the job, the spool will directly you can navigate it from here. So if I just select this, so this is an icon saying the spool list is available. So if I just select and go to spool, this is my SP02 transaction. Okay. So the title of the spool will be automatically created, system created. This is also controllable. You can control this using the program. Okay, I'll just double click. Let's wait for that to open. See, these are the SE16 entries. You can just see here. This is the spool. I'm seeing it from the spool. So maximum number of entries are 500. So same you can just see here. Without graph, these are just UI differences. Without graphic, you want to see the raw data. This is the raw data, okay, or hexadecimal data, okay, or you can just export like how we do the ALV export. Similarly, you can do it here. So now I have come from my job. Let me directly see my SP01. I'll see. So this is the selection. It is on my username. If you know the spool number, you can give it here. Otherwise, not required. For the same spool, you can see it here. Okay. So it is just different ways of seeing it. If I give directly SP02, the direct list will come up. Okay, whatever I gave, this will come up. So it's on my no date filter. So some users have created the spool. So it's showing like this. So if you come to the type here, so we have different types. Like generally now we have done for the ALV. So it will say ABAP list. Okay. Then this is ABAP list. Then again ALV, two things with structure and without structure information. Then this is smart form. Okay, smart forms we'll discuss now. What is it and all. So we will see how it will work. Now we have just seen what is a spool. Okay. Then the other outcome or output, whatever may give is you can just there's a chance of sending an email. Okay. So SOST is the transaction to see the emails outbound. We'll navigate that. Then there is something for inbox called SBWP. This is my business workplace. Let's see these transactions. Okay. So now first one would be SOST. SOST. So in this, what I can get is all my outgoing requests. Like I want to send emails from system, all will be available here. So there are certain function modules or some what is a BCS services which are available using which you can just send emails. Okay, like similar. If you want to send a subject, sender name, email body, everything you can just prepare and send it. So that we can check. We can see some example. I'll just note it down so that we'll prepare an example for that. Prepare example, okay, and we'll run it. Then business workplace is my inbox come outbox. So like how your Gmail and all works, SAP has a business inbox. SB, I think it's SPWP. Yes, see this is I think I'll just not check the transaction. Yeah, SBWP. Okay, so here this is my workplace of my user level. So you can see my inbox, outbox, or nothing is there. Any workflow requests or whatever you are getting, if it is in the outbox, like you are sending to someone, you can see it in the outbox. Suppose you have anything in your inbox means yeah, it has come to you for approval. So if I that is separately categorized in workflows. If I go to workflows, so this scenarios you will encounter when you have workflows to maybe you want to approve some workflow. Randomly I'll just open any of the workflow. Some will be notifications just for information, or some will be for approval. So that is part of workflow only. So, okay, it's just a notification, so it's okay. So this is on my email part. So let me go to the other one. Okay, so other couple of transactions what we have for is the print forms. Okay, we have three different print forms. One is SAP script, which is very old technology. Currently, very less customers use that, and specifically for dot matrix printers where checks are being printed. That is the only used case. Currently, people don't want to move to my other technologies like smart form and Adobe form. So any check related cases you will get that option, but most probably there is no use of scripts actually. Okay, so the transaction code for scripts is SC71. Okay, SAP scripts. Then for smart forms, the transaction itself is smart forms. Okay, let me just check whether this is correct or not, just for typo. We will discuss one by one. Yeah, smart forms, it's correct. Okay, so smart forms. Then newly from Adobe Forms, yeah, it's I think it's the latest one in the market. So customers, see, most of the customers will be either on Smart Forms or Adobe Forms based on their latest systems. Okay, there I see customers who are there in latest HANA system, but still they don't want to migrate the Smart Forms to Adobe Forms because that is a big task actually. So Adobe Forms transactions SFP. Okay, we'll just note down Adobe Forms. Okay. So now let me put this transaction. See, JDBG also comes actually into my transaction. Let me put it JDBG background jobs debugging. The slashes. This is a transaction. But just let me put this into my transactions. 35 other keywords. Sample okay, I think this is okay. So let's continue. There is another transaction for handling images. Yeah, so if you want any image in SAP, either you want to put it in the program or the program is very less usage, but in print forms, like the basic usage is the company logo. So every invoice or whatever print you do, there will be a company logo on that. So that is part of my SAP images. I think it is SC73. Let me see that, or 78 it should be. Oh, this is font SC78. Yeah, this is for graphics. So let me note down that transaction also. SC78, that is for graphics. Okay, so here you can adjust whatever the parameters are. So I'll just see what are all there. Graphics. So we have both bitmap. These are different formats actually. So if I want to search, I'll see if I have any. There are some logos. Let's open some, maybe some G I'll open. So it will have a attribute like what is the resolution, what is the size, everything you can control it from here. Okay, so if I just click on edit attribute, it allows me to edit. So if you want to see the image, you can go to preview, print preview. So this is all the images. Okay, so now This is all about images. So how you can use these images is, yeah, we'll see one by one. So let's start with the scripts first. Okay. SE71. Okay. So any window. So first, okay, better I'll go with smart forms first. Then I'll come back to this one, scripts, because smart forms is a bit easy to understand. Smart forms. I'll see if any smart forms are there. Form name C star. Yeah, so many are there. Okay, so now this is the basic example of a smart form. So if you come to the smart form, there will be two different things. One is global settings as well as my pages and windows. This will be available in every smart form. Okay. So in my global settings, first one is form attributes. So form attributes is just for display purpose. Okay, so it will just say what are the general attributes, then what is the language. So you can just change this. I'll try. These are all, this second section language attributes is changeable. Okay, then if you come to output options, so this is a page format and all. Okay, this A4 is my standard format. We have multiple formats in this. So this formats and all will be configured by the basis team depending upon the page size, page layout, all those things. Okay, so this format page you can select. Characters per inch is the what's the density of characters, and lines per, these are all configurations. You can just change it to anything you want. Style is okay, before on the same smart form transaction. So what you can just create some styles. Just wrong typo. Style means font size, all those things. So smart styles for the style names. I'll see any these things are there here. So I'll just see display. So styles will look something like this. Okay. So we'll have three different sections in the styles. One is the header data, paragraph format, character format. Okay, the header data comes like you can see the preview here. The below you can see what is the preview. So you can just change the standard paragraph tab, everything you can control, like how what all you control in a Word document. Similarly, you can control everything here. So if you want to put any paragraph format, you see. So indent will be there, font, tabs, number and outline. So every pin to pin detail of my how it should look on my form, you can control it here. So this is for paragraphs. If you want to give any character formats, yeah, you can give. So if you observe the difference in header data, you will have only the administration part and standard settings. So this is applicable on my whole what you say a whole form. So what is the font size. Then if you come to the paragraph format, okay, so you'll have four tabs. One is the indent and spacing. So how you want the alignment, indent, spacing, everything, three controls you can have it here. The font, the size, the font style and my family. So we have so many here. So that will come from my specification. So if customer wants some specific font, you can just use it here. And font style. Style means these three things, bold and italic or all three. Tabs, we'll just see what is there in tabs. Okay, so if you want to control the specific alignments, you can control it here. So you can just give what is a unit and then what is alignment you want here. Numbering and outline. So numbering type, so what is the type you want. Then if you are suppose giving the numerator and denominators, every control you can do it here. So preview, and before going on to the actual form, you can see the preview here, the bottom. That will be for a paragraph. So character is just like standard settings and font. What font you want to use, and what if you are using any barcode, you can just use that barcode. These are barcode standard formats. So subscript and superscript is what I was telling about effect. So how it should, like the power of or below the number, like that. So this is completely depending upon your requirement only. So nothing specifically we will have to see. So this complete style you can use it in my smart form. So we'll see where it is comes up. In my global settings, it should be there. Central attributes. So style here you can give whatever style. Suppose I don't want this style, so I can search and I can just give the other style. We have seen the Z one now. You can just select it from here. That will be applicable across my form. So that is about my general settings. Now, sorry, form attributes. Now, form interface. Okay, what is this form interface? So to the form, you want to pass some data. Okay, so we have set of programs which are created. So this is inactive form. So actually, there will be some set of programs created. Go to yeah. So if you go to this function module name, it is not yet generated because it is inactive. Okay, so there is certain set of code. I'll just show if I can, where I can get it. C37. So, okay, so this is set of code which we use to call a smart form. First is call function SSF open. Okay, so for this function module, these are my parameters, control parameters, exporting. Okay, so this controlling parameters you can see if you want to show it as a pop-up. This if you see here, GS control parameters. This is type standard this function structure. So these are the parameters you can just control. So if you want to don't close it or you want to put a default device. So if you don't want to show it in a separate pop-up or you don't want to show a preview, all these parameters you can just control it here. So that will be part of my control parameters. Once I export the control parameters, okay, you should use this function. But these are the standard steps. Okay, so we'll have to use this, otherwise things will not work. Okay, so now for if you call this function module SSF function module and give the form name, so this will be either through a variable or a constant, whatever it is, you can do it. But as per SAP standing coding standards, you are not supposed to hard code or give any static values in your program. So that is part of coding standards. Let's discuss that later. So I am importing my function module name. Okay, this function module, what will happen is, so if I go to any active smart form, these are all system generated in each system. Suppose in development there is one program, there is no guarantee that it will be the same in my quality and production. So that is the reason dynamically we'll have to see. Okay, inactive still. Let me try activate. Okay, so activated. Now it should go environment function module name. This is the function module name. This is the generated one. It is system generated. So this may not be the same in my other environment. Like in development, they are doing this. Maybe in quality and production, the name would be different. So dynamically, we are getting that name. So we'll use this function module to get that name. Once this is we got it, we'll just call with whatever interfaces you have given. So this one doesn't have any, only GS, EKPO they have given. We'll see the interface. See, the set of ones which are not changeable are coming as default actually. Then I'll go to the same form. So this is PO multiple so that you can understand. Okay. Just let me open that. This is the form they called it. So this is active. Okay. So I go to my form interface. I'll just show it in edit mode. Okay. See, the other ones which are all default actually. So it's all are optional. They are not mandatory and pass by value. These will come when you create the smart form. So apart from that, you want to take any values from the program, you can give it here, like how we do it to the import the parameters, how the parameters are there in function model. Similarly, we'll have all import, export, tables and exceptions. Same four were there in my function module as well. Okay. So importing, you can take it here. The naming conventions are not followed. So that's okay. So the same thing you will have to give it here. See, we are calling a function module. So import parameters, control parameters they are giving, user settings they are giving, control parameters and user settings. So this is for my this is the import parameter they want to pass the data. So they are passing it. Done. So after this, so why they are putting in loop is, so for each PO they want to print a form. So if they want to give a same form for all PO items, so they can just put it as a table, and just instead of structure they can just give it as a table. So that will be done. So here they'll put they can put the value and they can take it as a table. So as a close. So once you open the job, you should also close it. It's a mandatory step, not an option. It's a mandatory. Now, so if you can run, I'll just try running it. EBLN. Okay. EBLN is my PO number. Let me see if I can get any POs. Okay, PO. Okay, we have good number of POs. So I will take maybe 10. I'll use 10. Let's see if it works or not. So this comes as a default. Okay. So spool request, in case you are giving it in the background mode, you can just give it here. So now spool control. So this is the basic way how we can test our any output forms. So either they will be from my G programs or my standard programs. Wherever you go, this is the way. Some things will be printed in my direct foreground mode, and some places it will be printed in my background mode. Okay. So this is from a G program. So here you can just see the spool request. If you want to give any title, you can give it. Okay. And sometimes if you want to default the text also, you can default it. Okay. Then print how you want to control the spool, you can do it here. Print, delete, everything. So I'll just see only the print preview. I don't want to go for any spool. So these are the, as per the layout, this will get printed. Okay, here you will have a default layout for, for my smart form. If you want to see Adobe preview, I think we have a shortcut as well as menu navigation. One is this PDF preview. So this, okay, we don't have this PDF connection. Okay, so that is one way, or you can do PDF exclamatory mark. This is a preview one. Similarly, that will open in a pop-up. So I can see my PDF. Let it open. So it comes to my local desktop. It downloads the PDF. See, same which has come in my PDF form. So transaction, that's a transaction only. Let me add it. T codes 37 PDF exclamatory. So this is PDF preview of smartphone. Okay. So this is about seeing an output of, or how can it test it. Okay. So if you don't have a program, you can directly execute my smart form. So if you want to see how the basic output looks, I think let me show that as well. So we are in my smart form. Okay, you just got the function module name, right? So either you can go to SC37 and run the function module. C37, give this function module and run. This is one way. So this will ask for my input values, and if you want to debug, you can do it. Otherwise, you can directly execute it from here. Test. So it will again execute the functional module only. So it's a different ways of doing it. So if you just execute it, it will show me print preview. So the same again pop-up will come, print preview. See, this has come up. So these are different ways of seeing my smart form. Okay. Now I'll go back to the form. Okay, this is about my second thing, the form interface in my global settings. Coming to my global definitions, so this is nothing but my data declaration on the global level of my form. So this these two, whatever variables we are declaring here can be accessed in any section of my form windows or anything you can do. Similarly, say global type, field, symbol, initialization. In initialization, see again the same. How you have that initialization keyword in my SE38 report. The code which is here will be triggered first. Okay. Then form routines. If you put any code in my initialization, this is the perform form type of thing. Form routines. So same. So for a perform, you will write a form in my SE38 report. Similarly, you can write a perform in my initialization and give a form routine. So what is the difference between writing code here and my direct SE38 or function module is now two things you'll have to decide whether my logic should be written. That depends on the use case actually. Suppose in the same PO, so the PO manipulation data should come in my code level. So it's like so I'll just take an example. Okay, what is it we can take? See, similarly we can write same. So if you don't want to write any program, so we called here, right? The SSF program. So the data we manipulated there and passed it to our form. Instead, you can directly select here, but the thing is, it will just load the uh, program more. Suppose if I have execution time, my program executes fast and my smart form executes slow. So based on the logic, what you want to write, either you want to write it on a smart form level or a program level. That on the used case you can select it. So here we have options to write code as well, initialization. Then currency quantity fields. So if you are having any currency and quantity fields in your program, you will have to declare them here, otherwise it will not take any reference. So you'll have to give either it's a currency or a quantity. So in my this particular form we don't have any currency quantity field, so nothing to be declared. Okay, so now this is about my global settings. If I come to my pages and window, so you'll come on my, you will see the form painter. Okay, so one default layout will be always there. Okay, so this which is called a main page. Okay, this main page will always be there, and on top of this you can just add windows, primary windows, secondary windows, all you can add. So main page is like, now you will have a requirement like, okay, purchase order is there in any master data like purchase order, sales order, or any HR related documents. For example, now I'm taking example of purchase order. Okay, so the document will have two kinds of data. One is header data and transaction data. Let me open on purchase order ME23. Those are some common transactions like I'll tell you. I will note it down. For sales, see VA series VA 01, 02, 03 are for sales orders. Sales order. Okay, it's not opening. Okay, let me see. 01 would be similarly. The first transaction would be for 01 is display. Sorry, create. 02 would be for change, and 03 would be for display. This is for sales order. So if I go to purchase order, it will be ME 21, sorry, 21N. So these are new transactions. That's why just there is another thing called N. ME 22N and ME 23N. So these are the basic transactions, not mandatory that you should know, but the used cases are like some function. So when you should get issues from functionals, so it's good to know. That's it. So they will again give you the transactions. That's okay. So again here it is for one is for create, change, display. So this is for purchase orders. Okay, so there are certain other, see, if you have a, see, if you, so some people will expect some functional knowledge on this. So if I take sales SD, so it starts with my inquiry, quotation, delivery. So there are certain steps. So this is called a business process. Each set of, what you say, one step contains a set of transactions. Okay. So now sales order is one particular step in my sales process. Similarly, in purchasing, I have procurement is there, purchasing, goods received, invoicing, these all will come into picture. So that in the later sessions, we'll just give an overview, like what T code is used, what is the underlying table. Okay, so if you take on sales level, we have VBAK and VBAP. So this is my header and item tables. Okay, we'll show one by one. So for sales, this is a majorly used VBAK. This is my header table, VBAP. This is my item table. So similarly for purchase, EKKO, I think it is for header. Then EKPO is for my item data. So similarly, we'll have lot of tables. So going forward, you can understand. So if I take another example, delivery, I think it is LAKP is for header data. SD document delivery. So this I'll give the list of tables also, no issues. So we'll just go back to our example of purchase order. Me23M. Here I'm showing a smart form of purchase order. That is the reason I'm taking it. I think okay, some upgrade is going on. Let me try opening a sales order. Okay, I'll try to display any sales order. There are so many. Let me open something. The problem here. Okay, so let me show on the table level some issues on my transaction level. Sorry, it's a table. SD16 EKKO. Okay, so how many purchase orders I have? They have so many. Okay, so my purchase order header data. Okay, so this should be displayed on my like how we can say. Let me pick up another smart form. Some standard smart forms I'll take. Yeah. So now this looks a bit better. Okay. Now see, this is how the general approach is. So any document like purchase order, sales order, invoice. Okay. So we'll have two set of data. One is my header data and one is my item data. So here the general what you say the requirement should be should they'll give a layout actually. So my logo should be here. My partner details should be here. My business details like shipping address or billing address. So here if you see my vendor address is there. Order general recipient. What is the page preview? Ship to address, bill to address, then previous output. These are all on my static side. On my main page, I'll come to my main page. If I just navigate here, we can have some tables so that why we are putting differently here is in my main page, what you put will flow. Suppose I have line items, 10 line items. Okay. So if I have 5 line items, this will be automatically controlled. So my sixth line item will go to my next page. But my static things will be staying on the same page. Okay. So now let's see one by one. So if I go to my pages and windows, this is my first window. Okay, I'll just double click. See, now two ways you can analyze this. Okay, suppose if you are creating from scratch, okay, the approach is different. Like you create a new window, then you give parameters to it. This is drag and drop. Okay, this is modifiable. This is standard one, so I cannot do that. But this is a drag and drop. Okay, you can just drag it. But if you have any issues on my layout, saying okay, they'll say the margin should be this much, left margin, right margin, so alignment, everything they'll give. Okay, now if I take this vendor address, so we have what type of window is this? Is secondary window. This is not a main window, right? So if it is outside, it should be a secondary window. Then output options. So here you can have a control of your margins. So what is the position and size? Okay. So margin here is the left margin. You can just control whether it is what units you want to give. So generally, majorly used is and cm. And if some customers come with the inch or points or twips, twips is actually like this point and twips are the ISO scales, where the point is almost around some 2 or some 2.2 centimeters, and pips is 120 1 by 20 of my point. These are the major things. Characters, yeah, this is like my pixels actually. So if I go here, they are maintaining it in millimeters. Okay, so you can give here. So if you want to adjust, or if they come like okay, move my margins here and there, you can play around with these values. So left margin, upper margin, right, and width and height. So left margin will be this space, top margin will be this space. Okay, so this space would be my top margin. Width is the width of my box. Okay, so what is the width and my height? So these are the generic parameters. If you want to give any boxes, so this should come in, they'll say like okay, I want a box around this table. Then you can put a frame here. So that is how this will look. So if you want to dynamically control this box, you can put some conditions. Okay, this can be either I'll take an example. Now we have declared some global definitions, right? Some here. So maybe based on this CON number, you want to control this window in conditions. See, conditions is available for every window. So there is already condition here. If my output date is not initial, then show this window. So this is my W prev outputs. This window. So they are dynamically controlling it. And other conditions, what you have is you can only we have these settings here. Okay, so you want to control this on different pages, like only on my first page, not on my first page, only at end of my main window. This is purely based on my requirement, or if you have multiple pages, on which page you want to print my first and p follow. So this page is what you have created here, the p first page, this one, and my p follow page will come up in all the options. Now I have only two, so two are showing up. So this is the dynamic controls of my window. Okay, now inside my window, you have different elements you can add. Okay, now I think this one is not editable. This will not come up actually. So now the nomenclature here is nothing. So we can follow any name, but naming standards they'll give, like in my project, like okay, window should start with W underscore. Then so those things you can identify. So you have you, this icon, which is actually the if condition in my algorithm diagrams. So if that is there, then it is understood like there is a condition on this. So now yes, we have for this no condition. So you can just by looking at it, you can understand whether condition is there or not. So that is a differentiator. These conditions are can be also on my element level. Any element you give, you can put condition. So here this is my address, you have a condition. Then randomly I'll open text, you will have conditions. So every element on my smart form is dynamically controllable through my conditions. Okay, now what different element types we have on smart form level, we'll see. So for address, they'll generally use this address. Okay, so for address, this is a separate UI item. So in my UI item, you can just configure the values. Let me open it. Okay, so what type of address you want to print, and what is the address number, or if it is from my person, I mean there is something called person number. If you want to put it from that, you can just give the person number here. If it is static one, you can give the number directly. Otherwise, it will pick from my, you can pick it from my what you say, the variable. So here for considering the variable will be given in between two ampersands. So that will say, that will understand, the system will understand like I need to pick the value of this. So if you are not giving this, it will consider as a literal text literal. Okay, so that is one important thing in any forms. You should, if you want to consider that value, you should be giving it in between and the ampersands. This is very important. Okay, then coming to address and additional address specifications, you can give, okay, what kind of paragraph you want to show, then what kind of, how many lines you want to print. This is completely configurable. Then similarly the output options, yeah, this is same. So if you want to separately give any style, you can give it for this printout. So this is one address one. Now let me see logo. I think there is no logo here, so that is why you cannot see. Now we'll see the text element. So this text element, what they have given is, okay, text element ship to text. So this will open up in my text editor actually. So for here, this one, you have two types of text editors. Okay, one is this one, which looks something uh, exactly like your Microsoft Word. Because if you have that Microsoft Word integrated to the system, it will access it here. In case this is not working, um, there is something called standard editor. Let me show. Go to, sorry, I think change mode. I'll get it. Okay, sorry, this one editor. This is another set of editor. So here you can just give the navigation. So this is the value tags, you can say HTML tag, something they'll use. Directly if you want to give, suppose this is on bold. Okay, so directly if you want to give that, here you can give it. Like for us it will be just control B in Word, but on my script editor this is called script editor. Okay, so here this slash B and slash is my tags, start and end tag. So this will be in bold in my actual. And what format you want to take it, you can give it in the left. This is for tag column format. Okay, so here generally we have these values. So default paragraph. Then if you want to continuous text, like so this is actually the basis of my script. So that from script they have migrated to smart form. So my script feature of writing my script editor is same. So if you want to give some command line, then comment line. So these are the various formats available. So here also similarly you can just use the. So what is the difference here is, this is on my script level. So sometimes what will happen is your UI will not for me I have integrated my Microsoft Word with my GUI. That is the reason I am getting it here. Otherwise it will be difficult for you. Or sometimes they will say, okay, this element also should be in one particular format. Here you will not have issue. This is my Microsoft formats. Suppose they say, okay, there is some formatting called A3 in my system style. So I can go here and I can just give it. Here nothing is there, but if you have it configured, or if you for the style, you will able to see it here. I'll see what is the style given here. PPO, PP. So style is BPP. Okay. So in this style, if I have all paragraph formats or what font exchange, everything, you can just control it on my text level. So this is address we saw. Then okay, this is text again. Okay, so here you can just add text. Okay, here also you have an option to give variables. Okay, suppose for example I have my maybe partner number example. So partner number will have two values. One is my partner number field label and field value. So from which variable you want to print this, you can give that in my ampersand and give it. Let me open and see one value. So this is the preview. Only the text is there. No value is there. Payment terms. We'll see what is there. This is again a text. See. So I'll just open it in my text editor. See. So this is my format. This is my text actually label, and the value bit in this variable and this variable will be printed. So if you see their values are given in ampersands. So means they'll just concatenate all these two values and display in my text field. So that is how you will give the label as well as my value. So so when you get the layout sheet, now we have two things in my smartphone, maybe two to three things. One is you will have to develop it from scratch. So in that case, you will receive the complete layout, okay, which with along with my window positions as well as what logic should be printed in that. All three you should be getting it. That is for my development from scratch. Second one, changes. So they'll say, okay, I don't want this logic, so change this logic. For example, I saw now payment terms we are in. Okay, so instead of this field, they want some other field. Okay, so what you can do is just come here, edit, and you can change it. Then third thing will be troubleshooting. They'll say, okay, my this particular field is not printing properly. So what will have to do is see some things related to UI, like my display and look and feel. You can just come here and edit. So if they say my value is not printing correctly, you can either see, you will have to check whether that code which is giving the logic, suppose this particular one, you need to see whether this logic is there in my form level or my program level. So there is some logic in my form level. Okay, so we will have to see whether the issue is with my form level or my program level. Here you don't, one disadvantage in smart form is directly you cannot put a breakpoint here. Okay, so one way what we can do is, suppose you will not, suppose you want to put at this statement. Okay, so you should be knowing how to trigger the smart form, otherwise it will be difficult for you to troubleshoot. Okay, now what I can do is I'll just execute. This will go to my function module display. This will have a whole function module. Go to global search. I'll give whatever line I want to. Just it's not found. Okay, I think I'll go to main program. See, so this will show up my code. So here you can, this is like again my normal function module, and here you can put breakpoints. Now you can go and execute your how the form will be triggered. So once you give that pop-up, after that pop-up you will just print or print preview. My form logic will be triggered. So you can debug that form like this. So that is on my troubleshooting. Now we have multiple different uh, nomenclatures. Now what we'll do is we'll just see the navigation, sorry, on the form level. So generally what they'll say is, so this if there is, we assume there is a table in my main window. Now the part above this table or my main window is called my header area. Okay, then the main is called main only, there is no problem. Then below the main will be called my footer area. Okay, so the naming here is also the same. So footer, main. So here they haven't called it as header because they have multiple values. Now if I have to print it in different pages, okay, well, let's see. One complex thing in my smart form is my table. So we have a table here which is called a partner. So we'll take one scratch example and we'll develop it later. One example we'll take, or what I'll do is I'll already create one example and we'll explain step by step how we can do it. Okay, that's how we can see a smart form. So if I'll just see if I have missed anything. table, yes, we can use it. I'll just give it an example. I think that's all it should be. Page break, yeah, the page break is common. Command line, okay, that's okay. That is a command line. Footer, a footer again has my text only, so that's okay. Fine, this is about smart forms. I'll take an example tomorrow. Okay, so now we'll see what is Adobe form. I'm not sure whether this is configured here. Yeah, so again, like similarly like in smart form, in Adobe form also we have interface and form. So interface is nothing but how the data will come from my program, and what data you want to import, you can import. Let me see if I have any smart form, Adobe form. There are certain installations required for this Adobe form, which is called Adobe Lifecycle Designer. That on your customer system you will have it, but not sure whether it is there in my demo system or not. Okay, this is how my Adobe form looks, and the layout part is there. So here this comes from interface. Okay, there are certain properties which will manipulate. What is the layout type? Okay, then description. What is my interface? So this is mandatory. So it's like something advanced version of my uh, smart form. So context is what I was telling. So context means what are the interface things you will have. You will have to manipulate between your input and output. And for form, what is the input parameters? So context will be on my form level. Like for example, you will have to in form level what are the variables. So similarly, how we declared variables in my what you say the smart forms, here you can do it. But only the advantage here is this is my interface. Okay, with interface you can just map my fields. So these are coming from my mapping. So you can just directly map. Suppose IBL and R is there, you can just drag and drop so that it will be mapped. You need not separately pass values to it. If you are giving the value in my program, it will directly populate to this. So that is the easiest part in Adobe Forms. Let me see if layout is there. No, there are some errors. Let me try creating some Adobe form also. I'll see if my layout is available. G star, anything. We have some. Let me open. See, if Adobe's lifecycle designer is not there, we'll not be able to see the layout here. That is the only problem. I think it is there. Let me open. Let us wait for a couple of minutes. So lifecycle designer is initiating for first time. Maybe because of it, it's taking so much of time. Let's wait for some more time. Okay, UI closed. No, then there is some issue with the Adobe Lifecycle Designer. So let's try for some other system. So currently for this Adobe, we'll need to have ADLC, that is called Adobe Lifecycle Designer. Maybe after this training, we'll try to catch up that. Okay, so that's it for today. So tomorrow I will continue with the smart form example. Then I think that should be the last topic in my basic ABAP. We'll start with O ABAP after that. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, team. Thanks for joining.